So after seeing Kang in this, and knowing that he's the big bad moving forward, yeah, the Avengers are f***ed.
People still need help, Dad.
That's why we made this.
It's like a satellite for deep space, but quanta.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off. Now!
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, another year has dawned, and with it a new phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And kicking things off in quite a big way, I might add, are, funnily enough, two of the MCU's smallest superheroes in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. After teaming as an Avenger to save the world from Thanos, Scott Lang is enjoying life as a celebrity. He's got a new book out, gets recognised in public, but the one thing that isn't going so well is the fact that he's still bitter about the time he lost with his daughter Cassie. However, when Cassie develops some new tech that can try to communicate with the quantum realm, it backfires, sucking our Ant family deep within, exploring the wastelands of this secret universe, as well as encountering the formidable Kang the Conqueror. I think it's safe to say that Phase 4 wasn't the strongest effort that we've had from the MCU thus far. Whilst I appreciate that a gentle tap on the brakes of like the connective storytelling was needed to just kind of have a bit of a reset after Endgame, the tapping of those gentle brakes clearly did not apply to just the sheer amount that they were still putting out. And so my issue with Phase 4 was never the uncertainty of where this is all building. My issues were that there is so much that you are giving us at this point in time that I feasibly cannot see how any of this can build to what we now know is the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. But nevertheless, Phase 4 came to a close last year, and now we are ushering in Phase 5. And look, there's no doubt about it, we are definitely getting down to things now. If you look online, you'll actually see that Quantumania has been receiving some of the lowest reviews of the MCU so far. I'm here to tell you, I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun with this movie, so I am firmly standing in what appears to be the minority in this film to say I really liked Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Sue me, internet. Please don't sue me. Now, Quantumania had its faults. I'm definitely not blind to them. For starters, it's quite emotionless, which I think has been a bit of a sticking point for a lot of people critiquing this film. There is that emotional angle between Scott and Cassie of Scott missing, 5 years of his daughter's life? And I thought that was a thread that they were going to pull on a lot more, but they didn't. I also didn't feel like Kathryn Newton necessarily added anything substantial to the character of Cassie, which then begs the question, why did they recast her in the first place? Primarily because Kathryn Newton has been in some films, and a lot of people aren't going to necessarily recognise Emma Thurman, who we saw as Cassie in Avengers Endgame. I just didn't necessarily see that there was a reason why Newton stood out so much. Now, I know normally I address the post-credit scenes towards the end of the review. I tell you how many there are, if they're worth sticking around for. There are two. Both of them are very integral to stick around for. However, whilst it is interesting to see some of these chess pieces now being set, there is an element to the mid-credit scene which I don't think was executed as well as I think it should have been. It can and did for me come across a little silly. I'm sure that they will find a way to make it all work because of how absolutely integral it is going to be going down the line, but in its current form, I can't take it seriously. And the one at the end, stick around for it. It's not game changing, but it's cool. So we're going to move those negatives to one side, because as I've said, Quantumania, I had a lot of fun with it, and it certainly lives up to that title. This movie is freaking insane. It's totally bananas. Luckily, I quite like bananas. I mean, we waste literally no time in getting into the quantum realm, and yes, we get the expansive Marvel green screen and CGI works. If you're not into that, I can't necessarily say that this is going to win you over. However, I think the effects are far better than we have seen Marvel often trip up with in certain recent films or TV shows, not naming any names. But I think importantly, Jeff Loveness, who wrote the screenplay, and Peyton Reed, who is back to direct, they had to build this world and do their best to immerse us into the quantum realm. And for me, it worked. Loveness and Reed clearly just mushed their heads together in terms of the vision that they had for this, in which it's this amalgamation of the goofiness of Star Wars and the creativity of Rick and Morty, and yeah, as I said, just mushed it together. For me, it was quite the intoxicating combination. And maybe I'm a little biased because I love both Star Wars and Rick and Morty to bits. And the MCU as well. I'm starting to think that this might not be a totally unbiased review. I love the creature design as well as the costumes and sets. It just really added to the fun and the eccentricity of the movie. It's structured in such a way that we're able to spend the first third of the movie having fun, exploring the wackiness of the quantum realm before knuckling down to the stakes at play. Now, admittedly, in terms of flow, those two things never actually tie all that well together. It is almost like they push pause on the tour through the quantum realm and they're like, okay, cool, and now we're on to Kang. Sure, it's not the most cohesive of storytelling, but as someone who is fully aware and fully agrees with Martin Scorsese that these movies are just roller coaster rides, I had my palate now wet from experiencing the quantum realm, and I wanted to see what the deal with Kang is. And almost at that point where I was satisfied, the second and third acts came along, and that was where Kang stepped in. A villain who is set to be the next foe of the MCU, commanded by the ever-impressive Jonathan Majors. And Kang does not disappoint. He's fearful when he needs to be, intimidating at all times. Like, there's no humour from him, which is a relief because Marvel have a really unfortunate tendency to take very serious and intense situations and feel like they have to alleviate them with humour. That wasn't the case here. When he is throwing down, you're sat there going, oh shit, they ain't gonna make it out of this. He is genuinely unstoppable. I think as we move into these big Avengers movies, he's gonna make Thanos' snap look like child's play. So many people are about to die. Why do I sound happy about that? I am a sociopath. Major is such a presence. I cannot overstate that. I foresee him carrying probably this entire multiverse saga on his back. Turning our attention to the Ant family now, and they're all back. They're all great. When I say Ant family, I mean the internal ones. Don't expect Michael Pena as Louise to show up. It's a shame. However, the way that this story unfolds, his inclusion would just feel wildly out of place. Paul Rudd continues his ability to effortlessly charm the pants off the audience. Now, this is Scott's biggest challenge to date, and my god, does Peyton Reed put him through the ringer in this one. Evangeline Lilly still does a really solid job as Hope, although, despite the title saying Ant-Man and the Wasp, she is not in the film as a second lead or a co-lead. She's very much supporting in this film. Michael Douglas, well, even though I'd wager he doesn't have a clue what's going on, he's always great as Hank Pym. And as for Michelle Pfeiffer, she really shows up here. Now, I'm all for a Michelle Pfeiffer resurgence? Let me know if you are in the comments. I also liked what they did with MODOK here. It's really not going to be for everyone, and I will totally hold my hands up as someone who initially did praise the visual effects for MODOK. They're a little janky, however, it's MODOK. I don't think you're ever going to be able to make that character look semi-realistic. Now, the film has garnered some criticism for the fact that this third entry in the Ant-Man series is so wildly different to the rest. I mean, the first two films were almost like palate cleansers. They were a refreshing adventure away from the inner workings of the MCU. But we've already established that, so I was actually quite chuffed to see this series take on a much more crucial role as it ushers in Phase 5 and a proper introduction to what is now on the horizon. Now, there are some flaws, I'm not going to hide away from that it simply just cannot get away from, such as lacking heart in a lot of places, and definitely alienates any audience who are not, at this point in time, already sold on the MCU as a product. But for me, I had a lot of fun. It fully immersed me in the sci-fi nature of the quantum realm. It gave us some very entertaining set pieces and a terrific villain for our beloved heroes to square off against. That's plenty good for me. So I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania an 8.5 out of 10. Anyway guys, those are my thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? It's been out for about a week now, so maybe some of you have. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And my question to you, with Phase 5 now officially out the gates, which of the remaining Phase 5 projects that have been announced are you most looking forward to? I would say I'm probably most excited about Daredevil Born Again. However, I need some clarification. Deadpool 3, is this Phase 5 or Phase 6? I've looked online and I can't seem to find a right answer. Because if it's Phase 5, then hands down, Deadpool 3, my most anticipated project within Phase 5. If it's Phase 6, well then, I think Avengers Secret Wars may be coming second. Deadpool 3, how could you not be looking forward to that? But that is all we have time for here today. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.